Hi there, folks. I'm Anna Prosser-Robinson, your host for the HyperX D2L Season 4 Finals. We are just about to get started with the penultimate match for this season. The winner of this match will go on to face LGD in the finals, and we've got a great lineup for VG Gaming and Fnatic. So let's chat with a couple of them. If I could have ROTK and No-Tail come up and join me, ask you guys a few questions. Now, No-Tail, recently you were able to play VG at EMS1, and you guys unfortunately fell to them coming in second place. Have things changed? Are you going to be able to take them on this time?
I think after yesterday, anything's possible for us. And yeah, I think it's always nicer to play a team twice than playing him for the first time. So I wouldn't rule us out, but VG is a really strong team.
And VG, you know, what does VG think about that? They were able to take them on in EMS1 and win. So do you feel like you've got their number, you have what it takes, you're going to be able to beat them, or is anything possible, as No-Tail said?
问你们在波兰赢过他们，这次有没有信心，或者说他们刚刚说anything is possible， 任何都有可能。你是觉得哪个更有可能？
我觉得也是这样的，像他说的一样嘛。 比赛谁还是那句话，比赛谁发挥的好，谁就能赢。
Yeah, he agrees that indeed anything is possible. It'll come down to whoever plays better.
It sure will. Well, you know, you guys have been dealing with this situation where you are playing with two stand-ins. That changes the team dynamic a little bit. But after, you know, your first match, things started to really go on the upswing for you guys. Have you figured out a team dynamic? Are things only looking up, or is it kind of just, I don't know, we'll see what happens at this point?
We're definitely playing better than we did first game because, I mean, the first few games we had, because that was the first time with us playing together. So it's like a huge difference having just a few games together, and now we're gonna have more of an idea who plays what and what's most optimal. So, yeah.
So we're gonna see some strong games from you?
Yes.
All right. And how about you guys? You know, you're coming off of a loss from LGD just moments ago. What do you do to manage your emotional state? Are you guys calm and confident going into this match, or did you have to kind of take a moment to breathe?
就是刚刚从上面掉下来吧，然后做哪些方面的调整？
主要还是战术上其实也就这样了，主要是做一些心态上的调整嘛。觉得其实我们实力还是有的，然后好好调整一下，面对下一场。
Tactically, we still have, you know, we have our style and whatnot. That's not going to change, but mainly it's just in terms of mentality, just get in the right place mentally.
Well, I will let you guys get to it. Go ahead and shake hands if you like. Head to your seats, and we will look forward to your match. Back to you, AC and Merlini.
Thank you very much, Anna, and of course, thanks to both of our teams. And, you know, this is a match, I would argue, perhaps one of the more looked forward to matches just because of Fnatic's surprise win yesterday. I mean, coming into this, Vici against LGD, great series we saw leading up to this, but LGD getting the best of that, punching their ticket to the grand finals. Now with Fnatic taking on Vici, I mean, it's Fnatic +2. You know, we saw them pull it together and manage to upset Alliance, sending them packing yesterday. Do you think they're going to have a chance to carry on that same momentum, or do you think maybe Vici is going to be able to knock them out of that have fun mentality?
I think Fnatic has a pretty good shot. I think Fnatic, more so than any other team in this tournament, needed a few games to warm up, simply because they don't have any chemistry. They have no idea. I mean, yeah, you can like watch their professional games, and I'm sure each team has spectated Dignitas or when Aoi was playing or Speed and EG when Demon was on it, and they have like some sort of feel for their playstyle, but it's totally different when you're asked to play with them. You're sitting right next to them, and you just have no idea what they like to do, what they don't like to do, you know, how aggressive a player they are, what risks they like to take, and it's just much, much different. And only time and experience can kind of cope with that. So I think that after playing, what, 5 games together now? Yeah. And probably some also more games during the off time too. They've maybe finally found their groove too, and they've improved so dramatically from the first 2 games that we saw them play. So I think they've come a long way since day 1, and on day 2 here, I think they stand a pretty decent shot. I think Vici are like 60-40 favorites, but it's Fnatic still can take this one home.
Well, in the previous series, Vici looked very good. And like you said, Fnatic certainly a heavy contender, as heavy as most. But before we get into the draft, as has become commonplace here at the D2L, there was a little bit of trash talk back and forth. Why don't we take a look at that right now?
We're going to play VG. And after losing our last game, it's time for some revenge. And we're going to take it all out on RTK. And he's got it coming for him.
course, Fly, I mean, Fly just looks polite even when he's trash talking. You notice that? He just looks like such a nice guy because he is kind of a nice guy.
We need to see his angry face.
Exactly. I don't think I've ever seen the guy frown ever. But on the other side, Vici did fire back.
Fnatic, 我们打你们有信心，来吧。
So no kiss my ass this time around. A little bit more polite on that side too, but I guess we can't ask for too much hatred, especially with so much on the line. Everyone trying to keep a cool and calm head. So moving ahead into the draft, Vici versus Fnatic, game 1 of our lower bracket finals. Win or go home, win and go to the grand finals where LGD awaits them. Taking a look at Fnatic, they landed Io as their first pick, going with the Doom pick second. After that, we've seen Doom's popularity just here at the grand finals really skyrocket. A lot of first and second picks pick Dooms over the last 48 hours. On the side of Vici, they do manage to land their Venomancer. Usually you'll see the Venomancer banned out against the Vici. Nature's Prophet and Enchantress, their choices in bans.
Yep, Wisp most likely wouldn't have survived to the second phase if you're a Fnatic here. Vici, I don't think have used Wisp. I'm not sure if I've seen them play with it before, but regardless, I don't think it would have made it that far. Fnatic, they are pretty darn strong with Wisp too, and a lot of the Western teams ban it, so it's no surprise that, wow. I mean, Venomancer first pick too is Standard from Vici. Right. I don't think Alchemist will see any play either. Like, I think both teams are just going to ban it on the first phase every time. That hero is widely consensus, or the wide consensus is that he is the most imbalanced hero in Dota right now.
Yeah, and we've seen that play itself out here at the grand finals. Banned down to it. We saw Alchemist actually make it through the first ban phase once, I think, and the one time he did, he was first picked. Vici, though, grabbing Pugna to go with Venomancer, and we talked about that at the end of the LGD series. I'm a little surprised Fnatic actually didn't ban that against Vici. I mean, only so many slots and wanting to take out the DK instead, but we've seen just how potent Vici can be, running over top of LGD in the second game of their first appearance today.
10 seconds remaining.
I'm surprised Vici took it that early, though. In their series versus LGD, it almost always got to the second phase before Vici took Pugna. But it looks like when they get Venomancer first, they know that they have the very, very strong push potential with the Plague Wards and the Nether Blast. So I think Fnatic's going to have a very difficult game ahead of them. EO, not very good at 5-on-5, not very good at anti-push. And it's pretty much the same story as most of the games that Vici plays. It's like, can you actually stop their 5-man death ball either through exceptional laning or even better team fight and execution? The two games that LGD won, first was better execution when they had the Doombringer, and the most recent game that we saw was just excellent laning dominance by LGD to take away from Vici's game.
Moving ahead in the second ban phase, Elder Titan taken away, as you said. A decent amount of anti-push on top of being a team fight monster, so not allowing Fnatic to get their hands on that. I want to see if Vici's going to prioritize a Tiny ban here. Tiny or CK. There are a variety of heroes that can and will work well with an IO combination. One we talked about before, which would be a nice pocket pick if you wanted to save it until last, would be, say, an Ursa, something like that. And against the Doom, who has some early armor troubles, that could be an issue as well. So keep your eye on that. Fnatic taking out the Timbersaw, though.
5 seconds remaining.
And we can see they just don't want to deal with the early 5-man potential. They know Vici Gaming has. Clockwork is still available coming into the second pick phase if Vici wants to go in that direction as well.
And Fnatic banning out the Timbersaw, it's decent. I think they actually could have used it themselves, but Timbersaw is also very good versus EO and very good versus Doom because of his very high HP pool. So I think if they're not going to use it, it's definitely worthy of a ban. ROTK still has a few heroes available to him, though, if he wants to play the Nature's Prophet like we saw last game, or if he wants to go the Clockwork route.
Nature's Prophet actually banned. I feel like
that's banned now.
Yeah,
you're right.
So I think Clockwork is the. I would actually thinking more about it when you look at what Vici's already doing, having early push potential and the ability to roam very effectively with the Venomancer in particular, but Venomancer plus Pugna. A Clockwork would fit in very well into this lineup, give them the reach they need to get behind enemy towers, give them the ability to just apply pressure and force Fnatic onto the back foot, and then basically open the map up so they can run as 5 and not have to worry so much about the IO relocate ganks. So. Getting rid of that hero here, I think, would behoove them quite a lot. Chen is still available as well if they wanted to try and fit that into a push combination with the Venomancer and the Pugna.
And I wonder if Vici is going to go for an early Lone Druid pickup like Siler. I mean, Siler played Lone Druid in all 3 games, right?
Yep.
So I'm surprised that he didn't take it earlier instead of the Pugna. I guess Pugna is more integral to the strategy, though, to the early push strat.
That's an excellent call, and that might be what Fnatic's talking over right now. What are you more worried about? Because right now, Vici has a little bit of initiation. I mean, Venomancer with a well-placed Gale, that can be considered initiation in a lot of ways. But what are they more worried about? Are they more worried about the range that something like a Clockwork would give them, or something like Siler's Lone Druid, which I'd completely forgotten about? I mean, Siler played it all 3 games. He had some success on the hero, certainly has. Yep, they're going to go and ban the Lone Druid instead.
Fnatic has next pick. They still need AoE, though. I'm not really sure what they're going to go with the carry of choice here. Lifestealer is very lackluster. He's not that great versus Venomancer. He's not very great versus Pugna either, because he can just defensively decrep anyone that gets open wounded. So I highly doubt it would be Lifestealer. I think Gyrocopter, which we haven't seen, will still work pretty well here with a nice array of damage too, physical and magical. Kind of necessary if you want to kill a Pugna. Could see Tiny too. Tiny is usually Fnatic's Wisp partner of choice, and we saw LGD run it to great effect earlier in the day.
Reserve time.
And Tiny, I agree. And Tiny gives you the AoE you need as well if you're in Fnatic's shoes. Just being able to rely
10 seconds remaining.
Avalanche Toss for a while, then once you get up your Scepter, certainly a lot of AoE damage there. Fnatic instead going to keep things open-ended, grabbing a Rubik, and I actually like the Rubik pickup a lot here against the 2 heroes Vici already has. A lot of good spells to steal. Venomancer, basically his whole kit is worth stealing, and Pugna, if you can get Nether Blast or Nether Ward, you're in great shape. Even Decrepify can have its value in a lot of situations. So Vici thinking it over for their 3rd position. A lot of bonus time burned through, so even though it took a lot in the front end of this draft, expect the next 5 picks to come out pretty fast.
5 seconds remaining.
Yeah, Rubik stealing the Venomancer wards is pretty darn nice too. He's usually just ward wars, but Rubik will usually be the one in the defensive position too. So it serves as okay anti-push. Vici gets probably 2 of the best supports of the game right now, barring Alchemist, Venomancer, and Visage. This scary duo.
Yep, the Brothers V. And Fnatic right now, again, like, when I look at their lineup, they really need to just round themselves out. I mean, Doom, when you look at his targets, I mean, dooming a Venomancer, dooming a Pugna, that can have its uses. Dooming a Visage, same thing. I mean, it's not like it's bad against anyone. And there's the Tiny pickup. Still feel like they need some punch, though. And, the Doom pick is going to work in a lot of ways, and certainly coming down the stretch on into the late game, if we reach that phase, having Pack Leader's Aura for Doom to help Tiny out, that'll make him even more deadly. But still feel like they need a bruiser. They need someone who's going to be able to hook up with Tiny and soak up some damage and do some damage. Clockwork, the 4th pickup for Vici, and ROTK going to get the Clockwork Goblin.
Not really sure what their carry is going to be. Melee carries typically don't fare that well versus Tiny too. Lifestealer actually does okay here, but he doesn't do too well versus Doom. So Vici, it's not really clear-cut what they're going to pick next.
Lifestealer an option. Siler does indeed like his Luna, and there it is. Fnatic bans it out, taking that away. And, Vici's got about as good a supporting cast as you could ask for, as you mentioned. Venomancer and Visage, 2 of the most sought-after supports in the entire game. Pugna works well with both in terms of push, especially once Visage hits 6 and can bring out his familiars. Clockwork gives them the initiation and counter-initiation they so desperately need. Just a matter of who can match up against Tiny and who's going to be able to have to fit into the early potential that this team wants to have. You don't want to pick an absolute hard farmer, otherwise you're squandering some of the potential that the front 3 that you draft have.
Bristleback ban out from Vici. Fnatic, I'm not really sure what they're going to do, the double off lane or what, but looks like it will be a Beastmaster, and Demon has played Beastmaster quite a lot too, so I expect Trixie to be on the Doom, and then Beastmaster to be solo mid too. He matches up, like, I guess okay versus Pugna. It is really, really important to kill Pugna early on in fights too. He does so much damage with his Nether Ward being alive, being able to save people with Decrepify, and Nether Blast just adds up as the fight drags on. So I think Pugna will be the primary war target.
Yeah, I really like the Spectre. Wow. That's an interesting choice, and one issue that already kind of comes to mind. I mean, Spectre takes a lot of time to really get things going, to really get all the items she needs to feel like the big beast she can be. And Fnatic has a lineup very well geared to dealing with that. I mean, just being able to apply pressure to her, and with Io and Tiny, I mean, Spectre, of course, is going to have Haunt to get her out of trouble if needs be, or to get into trouble if Vici wants to play an ultra-aggressive kind of a style and Spectre just show up at the end of fights. But I really like this draft out of Fnatic, and Vici's feels good, but it also feels like there's a lot of room for error. If they mess up, if Sylar gets too far behind, this Fnatic squad will be able to completely dovetail this into a stomp.
Yeah, I think Fnatic's pretty happy with this draft because Spectre usually means you don't go aggro, so that means Wisp is going to get his level 6 at a reasonable pace. And also, if Vici wants to play the late game war, they have to deal with a Tiny. Tiny skills one of the best with items because Scepter just gives him cleave, so you don't need a Battle Fury, and he's Craggy exterior is also very annoying to deal with, especially if you're a melee hero like Spectre. And then you have the addition of the Inner Beast from Beastmaster, as well as potentially Pack Leader's Armor from Doom too. So he can just scale incredibly, as well as Overcharge. Tiny can just be a one-man machine and 1v5 later if it gets to that point.
Quick pause and hopefully, yep, ready to get back underway. But our lower bracket finals, game number 1, just about to get underway. We're about a minute away from blowing the horn. Looks like Demon says wait, and I'll run through the lineup shortly. But again, the winner of this will move on to meet LGD China in our grand finals with $25,000 for first place on the line. That's half of our $50,000 prize pool, all brought to you by HyperX, Monster, Astro, and Razor. And really excited to see Fnatic in action. I mean, they were back here practicing quite a bit in our backstage area where Merlini and I are set up. We have a number of machines for teams to come in and play together, get warmed up while the stage is occupied and so on. And they've been back here for quite a while. They came in pretty much right at the beginning of our last series, and between watching what was going down between Vici and LGD, they were certainly getting their hands ready and trying to, just communicate, trying to get that cohesion that you had mentioned before. That's so essential for a team, especially playing with 2 stand-ins, to be able to compete at this level.
Yeah, it looks like Vici's probably going to run with a safe lane too, so I expect the early game to be very passive. I think Fnatic does like to play very greedily, though. When Aoi was on Dignitas, they were known for being one of the greediest teams in the scene. So I think that this will play very well into their play style. No-Tail also plays a pretty darn good Wisp too, so hopefully we'll see some cool plays this game. Remember, it was that he was the one playing the Wisp that one time we were just like, what just happened to the Wisp? Like, we had no idea what happened.
It was a total glitch. He and actually spoke to him afterwards, and I can't remember the exact circumstances, but I remember what it was. He was up here, and while we wait on the pause, I can go ahead and draw it out. He was up right around in this area, and he relocated to save his carry. I think it was a CK played by Era, and he relocated down to his own tier 1, and he was hanging right here. And he ended up tethering to a creep just as relocate procced and was going to send him back. And for whatever reason, it canceled the TP. It canceled the relocate. He just ended up hanging out down here. And, yeah, another classic no-tail Watt moment. So make sure you post it on the dev forums or, go abuse it in pubs either way. And going to hope. There's no disconnect right now, so not sure if it's an equipment issue or what happens to be the problem right now, but we'll hope to get underway. Looks like everyone having a chat, and we can see our awesome admin Gianni on stage looking to make sure everyone's squared away, and the production team that has been with us for the live D2L Grand Finals, Level Up. Make sure you check them out. They've done a great job all throughout the last couple of days, and it's been a real pleasure to work with them, and absolutely beautiful here in the ballroom. And looks like we're counting down and we're back underway. And coming back around to what you're talking about, Ben, like you said, this is kind of the issue I have with the Spectre pick. When you look at Vici's front 4, it seems just perfectly geared for a typical Vici lineup. Get out, fight early, take towers, let's get a lot of work done in 20 minutes. Sylar on the Spectre, though, she doesn't really fit that well into it outside of maybe hoping the other 4 could just free up a lot of space for him to farm.
Yeah, she's nice in the form that, like, you don't necessarily need a Wisp to farm efficiently. Like we saw last game like you can just farm wherever you want to as a carry and not really have to worry about fight speeds. You can just get relocated in. Spectre doesn't need that partner like that, but at the same time with the relocate ganks, you can always be there with Wisp in case, or against a Wisp too, in case you want to burst them down. And bursting down a Wisp very early is so important for team fights.
And we're about 10 seconds out. We'll take a run through our lineups. So there's the horn. And game one of our second best of 3 of the day, the lower bracket finals, now underway. Starting with Vici Gaming, ROTK, captain my captain. He is on the Clockwork Goblin, setting up shop in the off lane. Super will be taking Pugna mid. We saw him take Pugna into a farming role earlier today, where he was very, very effective and looking to have that same success here in mid in game one. Fnatic will have to deal with FY on the Venomancer, and this is a very common pick for Vici early on. And Fenrir will be helping out Sylar. He'll be on the Visage as well in this defensive tri-lane, while Sylar tries to get Mercurial as well farmed as possible. On the other side of the river, we got Fly playing on our Rubik, and No Tail, as mentioned, on the IO, one of the better IOs in all of the West. Doom will be played by Trixie. He's going to work now in the jungle. It's going to be AUI farming up our Tiny, and this has classically been one of AUI's favorite heroes, or at least going back a bit. He used to play a lot of Tiny back in the day. And Demon on one of his favorite heroes, and I would almost argue this could be considered a signature hero for Demon, as he's one of the very, very few who still continues to run the Beastmaster in mid.
Beastmaster's a really good hero. I'm surprised more teams don't pick him up. I mean, the thing about it, he's just so underpowered compared to someone like Alchemist, because Primal Roar like stuns for less, does less damage, runs on way longer cooldown than something like Unstable Concoction. So I think a lot of people have just kind of shunned him in favor of Alchemist, but he's still a pretty strong hero. I like his Inner Beast RO a lot too. 45% attack speed for 4 points is very highly underrated. That's like a free hyperstone for everyone on your team.
Oh yeah, and he adds a lot of vision too, just map presence, being able to use Call of the Wild to just keep tabs on what's going on. And it's one of those things that's not going to show up in a lot of highlight videos for the most part. But, you know, good boar micro, for example, can have an effect on a fight. Just having your Hawk in the right place at the right time, especially since the 6.79 change to Roshan. Just having a Hawk, you can send in the check Rosh and just hang out at the Rosh pit whenever you're not sure when he's going to respond. I mean, there's a lot of utility that Beastmaster brings, and depending on how you build him, he can be a mech carrier, he can build an early Blink Dagger and serve as initiation.
Ooh, on top.
Picked up, ROTK gets down the cogs. No Tail's right there, but the cogs separating Demon from No Tail and unable to follow it up. So good play by ROTK. Here comes Fly to try and help out, but doesn't look like they're going to be able to catch up with it.
Yeah, very nice pickup by Demon there. There were a lot of people over there. I'm surprised that no one got the kill. If Fly was over there a little bit earlier, maybe they could have pulled him out of the cog and put him into a compromising position. In the CS war, we see both carries exactly the same, sitting at 15-2. Pugna has taken the lead in the middle, though 11-2 compared to Demon's 8-1 on the Beastmaster.
How do you feel about what's going on in this bottom lane? Namely, the fact that nothing's going on in this bottom lane. Sylar has not just free farm, but literally uncontested farm. I mean, do you see this as a big risk taken by Fnatic, just completely giving away this lane to a hero who is so easy to shove around in most cases?
No, I think it's okay. It's fine for them just because Tiny's getting huge amounts of farm and Wisp is attempting to get the levels that he needs. If Wisp stays under level and doesn't hit level 6 like 11, 12 minutes in, then things are going to look really bad for Fnatic, and this empty offlane is not going to work out for them because Wisp is just going to die to a Haunt plus a few other instances of damage.
ROTK telekinesis into an avalanche and tossed. This might be first blood. It will be. No Tail, Fly, and AUI combine to draw first blood as the players holler and the crowd claps. 1-0, 3.5 minutes in.
Yeah, ROTK only leveled 2.5 right now, and it looks like there is a smoke coming out from Fenrir and FY. Although Fenrir is heading to the side shop, he wants his boots before they make something happen. Demon senses it out, but sends a Scout Hawk. It won't detect the smoke though.
Very balanced build out of Demon, 2-2-2. Or 2-2, I should say, which equates to 2-2-2. Whenever you look at the icons.
That changes like, okay. I guess it's nice. And looks like the rune...
Denied.
Did someone kill it? Yeah.
Yep, it was denied. Super denied of his illusion rune. And VG, looks like they want to push, and they will.
Bottom tower
and
is under
FY going to move out and cut the creeps. So they're looking to take a very early tower here. And Fnatic's back under their own tier 1, so they're not going to have any chance to try to counter push off of this. Should be a free tower, and if they're able to give Siler the last hit here, he's going to be sitting quite pretty. He's now atop the CS chart at 27-3, and last hit tower gold would certainly help. He's also almost level 6.
Yep, we see Trixie also doing like a tri-stack right now with his Wildkin ability of Tornado, so he's not going to be able to help his team for quite some time to come, but he will be doing very well in the level department. He has to be a little bit careful because Spectre's almost level 6. If he just ultimates, he can kill Trixie, even if he's unaware that Trixie's low, so they have to be very careful not to let that happen.
Waiting to hopefully have everything resolved, but thanks again for tuning in here today. Our next to last match, the lower bracket finals. Fnatic taking on Vici Gaming. ROTK gave up first blood. He's still getting close to level 4, so not in horrible shape. In fact, he soaked a decent amount of experience given how deadly this lane has been. I mean, hell, he's almost level 4, and Tiny only 1 level ahead. They did catch him for first blood, though. Taking a look at No-Tail, he's a little behind where he'd like to be, I think, just short of level 3, but still should be a relatively quick level 6 for him. Rubik sitting at level 3 as well on the side of Fnatic. So let's talk a little bit about how quickly they're going to be able to start applying pressure to Siler with the Tiny IO combination. Is this going to be a pretty standard kind of a build out of Tiny, you suspect? Something like just phase, drums, you know, Scepter and on into late game items, or maybe do you think they might even try something a little bit different?
I think it's just a standard build. There's no reason to deviate from the standard build in this particular game. You might need some like move speed to chase down Spectre, but Tiny usually just hit the closest target, especially when you get your Scepter, because you'll cleave a couple of targets behind him. Yep. And he has tons of mobility with the Wisp Tether as well as relocate. So I think he just needs the standard build. Drum's optional, Scepter definitely necessary.
On the side of VG, what about Siler? I mean, he's already got his phase boots up. You think this is a Radiant Spectre game, or maybe something a little bit more clear-cut?
I like Radiant Spectre a lot. I don't really think, like, if he gets a Diffusal Blade, he won't have any HP, and he can just die to a combo from Tiny or a Roar or a Doom. So, like, the Radiant's tank build is just so extremely good. Like, you do a ton of damage during Haunt still, even without a Manta Style or and or Diffusal. And if they focus you, you can usually kill them due to the amount of AoE damage that you put out. And usually AoE damage is king, which is why heroes like Gyrocopter, why someone like Tiny who can do Splash, why Spectre are just good carries, because they don't have to rely on single target damage like a Phantom Assassin or like a Faceless Void. We never see those heroes in competitive, unfortunately.
Yeah, every now and then Loda gets a hair up his bum and decides it's time to play some PA. But for the most part, you are correct. Trixie coming out of the jungle, sitting on his Stout and his Quelling Blade, his burn through his regen. Has about 800 and I was just shushed by our production team. So apparently I'm not supposed to talk about what's going on other than the push, I guess.
How do you like Vegas?
Yeah, Vegas is wonderful, man. Vegas is wonderful. Players taking their headsets off and such, making it so we can't talk about the game. But we had a fun night, me, you, and Jimmy. Our very first night in, we were waiting to see if we were going to be making it to a production meeting that night. And how long did you end up playing blackjack that night?
It was quite some time.
It was a while.
We don't condone gambling here.
We don't. In Vegas, we don't condone gambling. Yeah, absolutely.
Have you been to CES?
CES? No, I haven't really had time. I mean, I've bounced around. I've seen what I can see just like out here in the ballrooms, but for the most part, haven't really had a chance. Have you?
I have not. I've talked to some people. I don't know.
We're esports guys. We're not
it's nothing related to Dota, really.
I'll tell you what's fun, though, is just the crowd that has come in and the people that have stopped me and wanted to say hello. So many of them are here from, like, other companies that are a part of CES. And that's been really cool to meet a lot of guys who are contributing on the other end, you know, so far as peripherals and actual electronics and so on and so forth. Just be like, yeah, Dota fan, like you're streaming like the D2L. And really hope that looking ahead to future seasons of the D2L, we can have even more of them and of you guys back at home. Hopefully we can get you guys out to the live venue as well. So still waiting on a report as to what the issue seems to be. And as soon as we get that, we'll be happy to relay it. But what's been your best part of Vegas so far since you got here?
Hanging out with all the crew.
Yeah, just kicking it.
The players. Yeah, it's nice.
Yep. Get a chance to to go anywhere yet? To get a chance to see any
like
sides?
sometimes you just don't have any downtime at events. Like an MLG events that I casted to, it was just like, you know, very early in the morning until like very late at night too, especially with unintentional delays too. Even something like TI3 was just full day ordeal, and you know, you just get back and you have to sleep, and you don't have time to hang out with anyone. But this one, it's a little bit more lax, and it's fun to get a chance to hang out with the players.
Yeah, especially, I mean, and that's kind of the weird thing, you know. I can't remember who I was having a conversation with about that the other day, but hi, we're back on camera, by the way. And sorry for the delay, guys. I'm going to guess maybe a computer crashed or something. Hopefully one of the production crew will give me a clue in just so I'll know and can relay that to everyone so we know what kind of ETA we have to get things back up. But that's kind of the funny thing is, you know, when you work in this industry, you know, it's all global. We talk to people from all across the world all the time, and we're good friends with them. But we see each other, what, maybe twice a year, something like that. And if it weren't for the international, we'd probably never see some of these guys. So being able to hang out with Fnatic and Alliance, haven't seen Alliance since the international, and same with Fnatic. A lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. Especially like Demon, too. Demon and AUI. I haven't seen AUI in a long time.
Yeah. I guess I saw him at Columbus. Most of these people were at Columbus. You didn't join us.
Yeah, no. I had other things going on, unfortunately. But you guys did an amazing job. So Columbus, a very, very nice production. And
it was a fun event.
Kick butt. So looks like they're still working on the other issue. And we'll be bringing you the game just as soon as we can. But been informed we shouldn't talk about what's going on in the game because headsets are off, so we will not do so. But let's talk about the grand finals. Already LGD is going to be there. Which of these two teams do you think would be the better matchup for LGD?
I don't know. It's very difficult to say. They didn't have a great early game versus Vici in the first and second game. And LGD typically is like a snowball-y kind of team. They just get an early lead, and then they just extend it for the rest of the game. So I don't really think that Vici is that great of a matchup for them. But, I mean, Fnatic, they have two stand-ins, and although that makes Fnatic more unpredictable, it also makes them a lot less coordinated. So it's... I guess Fnatic is the slightly weaker team. I mean, they're definitely not the favorites in this particular matchup. So, I mean, just because of the stand-in factor, if it weren't for that, I'd say these two teams are actually fairly evenly matched.
Yeah,
and both evenly matched for Vici, or for LGD, rather.
Yeah, I mean, if there's anything that I think would be feared from Fnatic, it's a little bit of unpredictability. And we saw that kind of got Alliance last night. I mean, they came out, we saw them get very badly outdrafted in game one of that series. And then after that, they just kind of sat back and said, we're going to do our thing. And I like the fact that they picked Demon, the mid Beastmaster. Again, you don't see Beastmaster that often, and when you do, you rarely see a mid. But it seems like Fnatic just kind of realized and got together about it and said, no, let's not try to draft optimum lineups. Let's, you know, counterpick our opponents as best we can. But let's also just put ourselves in a comfortable position. Let's throw a curveball. Let's try to do things that these teams are not anticipating. And I think that could be problematic for LGD. I mean, LGD already showed us earlier, just moments ago or hours ago, that they can handle Vici gaming and their very predictable play style. Whereas Fnatic, I feel like they definitely have the surprise factor in their favor.
Yeah, Beastmaster Aurora into Relocate is just going to spell instant death for any of the opposing heroes. Vici is also going to need to get some 4-steps too, and 4-steps early just because of the threat of Roar.
Looks like they are swapping a computer out, and actually did get the update that there's some kind of an issue with one of Fnatic's computers, but that seems to be resolved now as Demon has reconnected. Fresh hardware, fresh machine, and a fresh start to game one. Demon says, oh, hey, and oh, hey to all of you as well. So looks like ROTK asking for the go. Demon says wait, because that's what he does. I don't know that I've ever seen Demon say anything but wait whenever he asked to go. I don't think I've ever seen that in the history of casting him for like 2.5 years now.
Yep, everyone's putting their headsets on.
Talking to you, Demon. I'm sure you can hear me. Back into the game. And tight one so far. Obviously very early, and we do get the goes. Headsets are back on, so we can actually talk about what's going down. But Sylar and Vici trying to grab an early gold lead, taking down this tier 1 as quickly as possible.
Yep, Super and Sylar leading the CS boards right now. Demon, yeah, suffering pretty heavily. He's actually gone for the 3-2-0 build, so not the one value point in Inner Beast that a lot of players like to get. And with the early Venom Wars on bottom, looks like we will see the first T1 fall very, very soon.
Caught and decrept, and a lot of damage. Soul Assumption and one auto attack enough to bring him down. I love this rotation out of Vici. Taking down the tier 1 and then rotating Super over so they can push straight through. Demon has to come over and try to buy some time. And the top lane is nowhere near being ready to push. And looks like a little bit of lag for one reason or another. Hopefully the Caesar's Palace connections hold out well. But this is just a masterful rotation. I mean, taking the tier 1 and already threatening tier 2, forcing a rotation out of mid. This frees up space for our OTK. And yes, AUI is getting his farm, but he's in no position to try and push on the tier 1 top. So very, very commanding posturing out of Vici very early on.
Yeah, and Wisp is also forced to rotate. That's a really big deal for them because he's still going to be very underleveled. He's only level 3 right now, and he's only barely in level 3 too, not even level 3.5 yet. So he's one of the most underleveled heroes in the game right now. And like in the XP grab, slight favor of Vici, and there is the go.
Demon hooked up with No Tail. They're going to try to zone them out. And looks like that will be enough to force them back. Nonetheless, a free tower and a free kill. But more importantly, again, wasting the time of Demon and No Tail, making them come out into lane and freeing up even more space for ROTK, who is in mid, and soaking up some much-needed experience. Take a look at AUI. He tops our CS board, 36-5 for him, and now beginning to auto-attack the creeps down, so might look to put some pressure on top.
Yep, Fly and the rest of Fnatic just forced to defend towers right now, making sure Vici doesn't get another easy tower with the help of Plague Wards and with the help of Nether Blast. Puglin's not level 7 yet, but they're still able to just put out so much pressure. And this is even with a Spectre on their team too. Spectre with an early phase boots, probably going phase drums, not sure if he's going Radiance yet. Some people do get phase drums before they get their next big item, just in case the opponent likes to put pressure on early, and you can also usually pick up a couple kills because of it.
I'll tell you who's won out big out of this rotation from Vici has been ROTK. He was suffering quite a lot, and now already up to level 5.5 roughly. And AUI having to play a little bit more carefully. He's level 6.5, so just waiting on Io to get into position. Still 2 levels to go for No Tail though, so buying some time, and Vici trying to make sure they just give Sylar as much space and as many minutes as possible of free farm. Sylar's sitting on 39 CS, so not quite as high as Tiny, but has nonetheless made pretty good work at that bottom lane.
Fly gets his ward denied, actually, in mid lane. And very nice sentry placement by the Venomancer. Taking down any sort of vision that Fnatic may get is pretty important, because if Fnatic sees a push coming, they just go there with Beastmaster, they axe down the wave, and the push is going to be very, very slow. But if they're forced to guess and just forced to rotate slowly, RT coming under some fire with No Tails, balls.
And a little bit more of a rotation now. Fenrir's making his way over with FY. There's a lot of kill potential here. Visage level 4, 2 points in the Soul Assumption, so his damage output quite high. FY, 1 point into Gale. He is maxing Plague Wards so far. Fly and No Tail are already there to help out AUI, and we'll see how much they want to commit to this. They're still hanging around a little bit, but there's a Beastmaster Hawk that's actually been spotted, so they're aware of what's going on.
ROTK needs level 6 before they make a go attempt on Aoi.
And leaving him alone up front, he's not far away at all. In fact, this next wave will certainly give it to him. And in the meantime, they're going to rotate out of vision. We'll see if they want to take a run in mid or if they're just going to buy some time until they have a chance to lead off with a hook.
Yep, they're pinging on the map. They note that they're somewhere around that area. Sylar still just chilling on bottom, scared of a gank himself, not knowing any clue on where the supports are.
Fly, level 4.5, is beginning to bounce around mid a little bit. He's got a set of boots
Dire's
up.
middle tower
FY is actually going to
attack.
move up now in mid lane. He's got help behind him in Fenrir. Looks like they might just split some damage. Pugna, in the meantime, has managed to snag himself a double damage rune. His mechanism is very nearly done now. Only about 600 gold out from it. And that early mech, we saw what happened. When Super got it last time, they just ran over LGD, especially with a set of arc boots up as well, just to give them even more sustain as a team.
Yep, I think they're going to do the same thing this game. Now, tower already under damage. Super has the DD, and he is just whacking on that tower. 450 HP left. Fly desperately trying to solo defend, but he is not level 6. So there's a Venom Awards there to add extra damage.
Super bottling up, and no rotation as of yet out of Fnatic. Doesn't look like they're all that concerned with it. Trixie has come out of the jungle and is beginning to go to work in that bottom lane. And yeah, they're just going to sack this tower. Down it goes.
Dire's middle tower
mech too.
has fallen.
Yep, mechanism complete, and Vici is off to a rumbling, rolling start.
Incoming!
Wisp level 5 now, so he's doing okay. XP graph very close to 0. Vici about 1,500 ahead in gold, even after 2 towers. So in terms of raw farm, Fnatic pulling out ahead in that, especially if they get this T1 on top.
AUI and Retail trying to put some pressure on. They force the glyph, but Vici grouped as 4 while Sylar continues to farm away on bottom. Trixie will make his way back down there, and will be Trixie that's the mech holder as well, as he's picked up the headdress. It's going to be a phase drums build out of Sylar, so don't think he's going to be trying to rush a Radiance anytime soon.
Yep, phase drums, very stable build for Spectre, and yeah, very passive early game. 2 kills out combined in between those two teams. 10-minute rune about to spawn. Demon has a Smoke of Deceit on him, in case he wants to make a move with his Primal Roar, which has not been used. It also looks like he's trying to build a Necro book.
Yep, Demon grabs the regen rune. And like you said, very passive so far. I'm really surprised we haven't seen Fnatic try to do more to shut down Sylar. I mean, Sylar's in great shape. Not quite as high in CS as AUI, and I guess that's why. I mean, Fnatic must feel like, hey, we have a late-game hero who can deal with you quite well, so why don't we just focus on AUI and not try to take too many chances? In fact, more than halfway to his Scepter now, and he is rushing it. He's gone treads straight up to a point booster.
Yeah, he is 17 creep scored ahead of Sylar right now, and yeah, just not too much going on in this early game. Spectre always forced to sit way far back and just not CS because he has no idea of where the supports are. I mean, he knows where Wisp is, but Wisp is almost level 6, so with one rotation from Doom or one rotation from Beastmaster, he could easily die.
Visage hooking up with FY and ROTK. ROTK is level 7 now, so has the hook on the ready.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
And maybe looking to get in position. Thought he might throw a blind one, opting not to that time around. While AUI and No Tail pull back.
There it is. There's a level 6, finally.
And No Tail finally.
They're looking against Sylar. He's about to get...
There it is. As soon as he hits level 6. Missed with the avalanche. There's the roar from Demon, though. And dooming him just to make sure.
That's 3 ultimates.
Yep.
But it's still worth it, though. They need to slow down Sylar. Sylar is going to be very important point of contest for Fnatic, just because Fnatic can't stop the push. The push is too strong from Vici right now. They have a Venom War set up. They have the mech up on Super. That's just way too much for them to deal with at this point in the game. So they're going for the second best thing instead of stopping the push, which is killing Sylar.
That'll be a trade of a tier 1 for a tier 1. And Super takes the tier 1 top after Fnatic clears out the tier 1 bottom. FY needs to be careful. Flies right on top of him.
Oop, they're getting a stack too. It's pretty nice.
And I really like the way Fnatic's played this. Fnatic now has their mechanism done as well. Demon, as you mentioned, going Necronomicon. He has finished book 1, so they'll be able to start putting that to some very good use soon. Feel like this is a game where Fnatic, I mean, obviously with IO relocate ganks, they have that going for them. But I also feel like they need to smoke and be active, maybe get a mobility item up on Demon before long, and look to take fights on their own terms, even outside of what No Tail and AUI could do.
Yep, Tiny almost has his Scepter completed. Doom has his mech, so they're in somewhat decent fighting condition right now. I think once they get a Necro book 2 or 3 on Beastmaster, they can take fights. But as of right now, the Pugna Ward is just still too strong for them to fight under.
And there's the book done. Super showing his face in mid, has a lot of support. ROTK on the other side of the trees, looking for a hook target. FY and Finn rear, bringing up the rear. And Fly trying to keep mid lane occupied. Super finds another DD room. And they may decide to push off of this. Here comes Demon rotating over. Trixie's there as well. And we're going to have a TP out of Sylar. Sylar's actually going top to farm right now.
Yep, just A lot of farming between both teams. Vici, 3 towers to 2. Looks like they're up about 1,200 gold. So aside from that, they should be dead even in terms of gold. We see a smoke from Vici, Fenrir, ROTK, and FY headed up top through the river.
The 3 smoked up, looking to make something happen on AUI. This would be a huge kill if they could find it. ROTK's there. And there's the hookup. The rocket goes out, and they relocate, and the whiff on the hook because of it. Beautifully played. We'll be keeping an eye on this. Of course, not going to be happy times for No Tail as he comes back, hooks up, and tries to run, but not so lucky. Nonetheless, they managed to get AUI to safety as he was relocated to mid. And yeah, that's one of those plays where if you're in Vici's shoes, you scratch your head and say, well played. Roar onto Super, doomed out as well. A lot of damage being done. Visage in the meantime managed to get the kill on Beastmaster. Trixie in trouble. Finished off with a solo assumption. Now Fly dragging up the rear and likely to die because of it. ROTK there, not even needed. Soul Assumption, pretty good ability. A double kill for Fenrir as Vici takes the lead 5-2.
Oh, that Pugna Ward just absolutely crushed them too. They used Doom, they used Axes, and they used Roar, and they could not even kill the Pugna too. He only has 800 HP, so he's a very high priority kill target, but they can't even kill him. They instead traded 3 for 0 in that exchange.
And Vici on the back of a very nice exchange, looking to do even more with it. Nether Ward back up and going to work. Oh, nice hook. Fly caught out under his own tower. And life drain there. Didn't even need it. At this point, Fenrir is beginning to feel very deadly. He's got 1,000 gold to go with his brown boots and his medallion, and has been just utterly pouring the damage out. Trixie spotted out now, and in no man's land. Cogs go down in a weird way. There's Fenrir, but the relocate in from AUI and No Tail, helping break apart this push attempt out of Vici. Fnatic able to not keep the tower up, but at least able to scare them away afterwards. They make up some ground, 6-4.
Yep, they still have left Siler unchecked for quite some time though. 3,100 gold in the bank too, so he's going to have his Radiance fairly soon. Looks like Fnatic's huddling around the Roshan pit, but they don't have what it takes to take out Roshan right now. So, I mean, I guess if Vici goes there, or Vici doesn't fight, yeah, they can take out Roshan, but there's already a Clockwork Rocket Flare inside of there, so they know exactly what Fnatic's up to.
Scepter done for AUI, and has another 1,700 gold on top of it, even more after he clears out this stack.
Dire's
And
top
Fnatic,
tower is under attack.
even though they're beginning to hurt a little bit in terms of map control, nonetheless keeping this game as close as they can. At 16.5 minutes in, we can see there is a lead for Vici, but just about 3,500 gold. The experience, though, quite even. In fact, Fnatic has a slight edge there.
Yep, still just waiting for something to happen. There's a smoke from Vici. We see ROTK, Fenrir, and Super go ahead. They're looking to get one of the last 2 T2s in the game. Aoi in a very, very fortified position, so in between the T2 and a T3. No Tail is not very vulnerable at all, hiding in the trees too. So if they smoke, they're going to have to dive very, very far in order to get in there. And, oh, actually, Aoi has poked out his head.
Yep, there we go, a hook onto AUI, and ROTK gets the cogs down. AUI healing through it just a bit though, but finally life drain down. No Tail going to be cleaned up behind the tower as well.
Dire's top tower is
And Vici,
I'm surprised he didn't toss ROTK out. If he tosses ROTK out, he doesn't get owned by the assault battery.
Yep. Vici with a very high priority kill behind the fight. Fly runs into FY, tosses him up to the high ground. But this is going to be yet another tower going the way of Vici as they build their gold lead and, more importantly, take away what last vestiges of map control Fnatic had to call upon. And at this point, I mean, we're short of 20 minutes in, but you can already feel Fnatic beginning to fall behind, beginning to really run out of steam. Vanguard done on Trixie. Don't know how much that'll help, but especially with Pugna already getting himself up a book as well. If you're in Fnatic's shoes here, Ben, what's the game plan?
They need to try and either overpower Vici's 4-man as 5 with relocate, just because Siler hasn't been joining them in fights at all, so they can kind of take advantage of that and try and kill Super before Spectre can do that much damage, or they need to kill Siler. Like, they need to accomplish one of those 2 objectives. They can farm up, but Vici is so far ahead at this point in terms of taking down so many towers, that it's going to be difficult if they allow it to continue for that much longer, especially if Siler gets the Aegis. If Siler gets the Aegis with his Radiance, if they kill him twice, they're all going to die, and then they'll be able to take a T3 from that. So Fnatic, they just need to make sure that Vici can't make a move for their T3 anytime soon, which means either stopping Super and the supports or killing Siler so that they don't have really that much damage aside from magical damage.
Well, we were talking about it during the laning phase. You know, opting not to put on a lot of pressure, letting the status quo maintain with Siler completely uninterrupted in farm until No-Tail hit level 6. And this is the problem that you knew you could run into. It's like, yes, you got AUI some farm, but look where Siler is. He's right there with you, only a couple of 100 gold behind. And you just really didn't take advantage of that fact. And like you said, now with the Relic already up on Siler, he's very, very close to completing his Radiance. That when that comes out and he starts tanking up, starts building survivable, things could just get out of hand very quickly for Fnatic whenever it felt like they had a lot of momentum to go on. And just heard another hook that's going to be ROTK onto AUI again, and AUI decrepified, but No-Tail there to bail him out once again. It's going to be a very sad IO, but at least they're able to keep the big guy alive.
Radiant's top tower has been
They're getting to a lot of damage on this bottom tower too. So even though he gives up, look at bottom tower. Aoi was able to get that tower. He should be able to TP out too. Maybe he can. He needs to toss ROTK away though.
Dodge the Gale, and off goes the Poison Nova, and there's the toss.
Nice.
Managed to get one kill.
That's a pretty good trade for Fnatic. They lose 2 heroes, but they get 1 tower. That's about as well as it's gonna go when you have 4 people ganking Aoi. He also got the top tower too, right? It was denied.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Top was denied, but yeah, that was actually about as heads-up play as you're ever going to see.
Space created.
Yep. Heads-up a play as you're ever going to see out of an IO. I mean, not only did he bail him out and get him away from certain depth, he put him in a position to get something accomplished elsewhere on the map, and he did it very quickly. He did it.
Yeah, most people would have just TB back home.
Yep.
And then Aoi would have been not as efficient with his farm, and they wouldn't have gotten another tower out of it, and Wisp would have still died. So that is a very heads-up play from him.
Book 2 done for Super. Book 3 just completed for Demon in the meantime. And at this point, I mean, Fnatic, like you said, getting some things done. BKB, the early pickup now out of AUI. And, you know, seeing a carry Tiny build a BKB is not all that odd. But seeing it come out this quickly, fresh after a Scepter, that is a little strange.
He needs it, though. He constantly gets decrypted in life drain. There's nothing he can do about it. So if he can't do any damage, they're going to lose the team fight. So it's imperative that he is able to do that. Also, the Assault Battery just does so much damage as a relocate in from Aoi and No-Tail, but they aren't able to get a kill because of that.
And
here they go with a Roshan attempt too.
Yep, Fnatic
they got smoked in.
Moving into the Roche pit, they've got him down to about a quarter health.
Vici knows.
Yep, they're making their way over. They're spread out a bit, though, and they need to get there quick. Not a lot of time left on Roshan. AUI got to move his way in. They're going to be able to get the Aegis on him. And that's a big pickup.
That's huge. That's huge for them. Very smart play from them, and making good use of the Necro 3. And Necro 3 is typically not seen as a Roshaning item. Usually it's a Medallion and or Vlad's, and they just were very creative with that smoke use. Trixie gets forced out for safety.
Trixie eating some damage, Fly in some trouble as well. All of them eating a lot of damage from the Radiance. No-Tail catches a Spectral Dagger in the back. In the meantime, behind the fight, AUI rushes in. Fenrir tossed up. He pops his BKB, but has to run. He's surrounded by nothing but enemies, doing a fair amount of damage, but look how well they're doing at kiting him. Demon roars out one, but AUI just can't do the damage fast enough. He loses his Aegis. Trixie tries to get out. Fly tried to cast a spell and killed himself on the ward, and this is a terrible turnaround. AUI back up off the Aegis, has a chance to clean things up, but they're continuing to kite him so well, and No-Tail once again gets him back to safety. Looks like they want to go back as a duo.
They're all so low, though. If Vici stays around right now, they're going to get team wiped.
Yep. And the Necro Creeps are actually right on their tail. Decrep on the melee Necro Creep. And we see No-Tail and AUI coming back into the fight. They have to hoof it all the way home, like you said. All of them down to about a quarter health or more. So No-Tail once again coming through and keeping AUI breathing.
Dooming Siler is nice and all, but if you can't focus him down, it's not that effective. You need a Doom Pugna or one of the heroes that are more spell dependent, because he already used Haunt and he had already haunted in. So after that, I mean, it's just like whatever. He's still going to be able to do a lot of damage because he has Radiance, he has disperse, so he can just wait it out and then just come back in. Especially if he dropped a dagger before, he can hide in the trees. And Vici did a very, very good job of kiting Tiny around during the BKB and during the Aegis. But that was a nasty relocate by No-Tail, salvaging what would have been a team wipe.
They lost the Aegis, didn't get a whole lot out of it. That also
they denied it from Siler though. If Siler gets that, they can just push up a T3 very easily.
We can see No-Tail working on a Vlad's to help out Tiny, while AUI's picked up a plate mail on his way to an Assault Cuirass, very essential item for them. And Spectre is beginning to get a little bit rich, 2,100 gold, and picks up the ultimate orb. So no surprise, Manta style on the way. Fly's going to run right in ROTK, and here comes the Haunt. Fly caught with the hooks. Siler comes in, secures the kill behind the fight though. Big engagement Demon trying to make a run for it. He's being life drained. We're going to see Doom end up dropping Doom onto Siler, or ROTK, and AUI going to work. Siler and ROTK both make it away. Fenrir now the target. As the BKB's about to expire, Super used the mechanism. Here comes ROTK back in, and they managed to kill him off. And Vici has done a stupidly good job in the last 2 engagements of kiting him around and not allowing him to focus a primary target.
Slight mistake by Aoi there. He got relocated in by EO, and then he BKB'd so that No-Tail couldn't actually tether him and bring him back. He could have TP'd as soon as he realized that EO kind of left him behind during the BKB, and they have no way of stopping it, especially with ROTK being doomed. So he is giving up a lot of deaths, and he is the most farmed on Fnatic's side right now. They need some kills out of him.
Vici pulling back for a breather. They certainly earned it, 15-6, the current kill score. And the gold lead, though, has been cut way down. Fnatic doing a great job of not only stopping the bleeding, but inflicting some damage of their own. Experience very, very up and down, as we can see, but very close. 25 minutes in, who do you give the edge to?
I mean, Vici has a huge edge right now. They had enough map control to take out the Roshan, but Fnatic was just smarter about it. I think as the game progresses, Siler is just going to get bigger and bigger, especially if he gets like a heart. He's just going to be able to kill everybody on the side of Fnatic before or while they kite Tiny during his BKB. Aoi just can't get that much damage done during his BKB. Like, yeah, he can stun toss someone, but it's still extremely, extremely difficult with the use of defensive decrepifies, with Cogs, and with Visage being like very naturally tanky as is, and Spectre being able to kite around with his Spectral Dagger too. So I mean, if Aoi can get a kill, like...
relocate in. FY gets off the Poison Nova, and they do secure the kill. And here comes the rotation. Fenrir and Super catch out Fly. There's Spectre using Haunt to come in. Doom out on Super. There's a roar on the Siler. Siler spotted out. He's down to about half health. They're going to mech through it. AUI down to about half health as well. Manages to toss one of the Necro Creeps. Fly right above him, but Siler finishes him off, and AUI going to be pecked away in the back by Visage Familiars. And Soul Assumption uphill, perhaps. There it is. Fenrir on a dominating streak now. Staying patient, staying with it. Level 12. He's 6-1-6.
Yeah, nice play by them. And again, Aoi is just having so much trouble maneuvering around these fights. They also were able to kill the EO before the relocate expired too. So yeah, Fnatic has their work cut out for them right now, and they weren't able to kill Siler too. So Siler gets away yet again. The only successful gank was maybe like 10 minutes in on the bottom lane too. He's 4-1-9 right now. He almost has his Manta style completed, and yeah, you can do Pugna, but then Spectre is able to just do whatever he wants, and then you can do Spectre too, but he's going to be able to keep alive with the mech and usually just wait it out too. So Fnatic, they need to be able to kill like one person with Primal Roar, another person with Tiny's Avalanche Toss and the BKB, and another person with Doom, but they just aren't able to pull it off in these team fights because of Vici's execution.
ROTK upping his team's fight potential immensely, picking up a Scepter, and very low cooldown now on his ultimate, 12 seconds in between hooks. That is such a game changer, especially for someone like ROTK, very good on the hero, and will land his hook. Siler, in the meantime, getting very close to Manta style being completed. That's a big item for him.
And Tiny, his item progression has been very, very slow after his very quick Aghanim Scepter too. And they've been stacking for him too. Demon has managed to pick up a Hood of Defiance as well as a Necro. The pipe is going to be extremely useful for them, especially against Poison Nova and Pugna damage too. It's quite a necessity. Roshan may respawn in any time up to 1 to 4 minutes. If Vici gets that, it's probably close to game over. If Fnatic gets that, they can delay the game, and hopefully Tiny will be able to carry them to victory.
Vici pushing in the tier 3 top. ROTK is in position, looking for a hook, going to be able to use the Venom wards Plague wards to scout the high ground. And they got to be real careful. Range on hook immense. Incoming! And ROTK shows his face, still looking for an angle. In the meantime, just slowly pushing with Decrepify. And you can see how much damage the Nether Ward is doing in the meantime. We're going to see Sylar bail out. We'll see if the rest of the team's going to head out as well. Yep, went to get his Manta. We'll have Haunt ready to go at any point. And in the meantime, relocate as AUI tries to get the jump on them. Got 2 there, but he's just doing no damage. He's being kited so badly, especially with Venomous Gale. Now the Poison Nova's out. AUI gonna fall. Oh, another nice relocate from No Tail. That's gonna leave Trixie and Demon to their own fates, however. And No Tail will be coming back in not good shape.
Aoi popped his BKB too slowly that fight. He got Venomous Gale before he BKB'd, and then they just ran circles around him during his BKB. And that's pretty much been the story for like the last 3 or 4 fights. Vici has just been doing an amazing job of keeping Aoi at bay. And they also had the 2-man Cog too. So he got pushed back by the Cog as well as being Venomous Gale before he popped his BKB. If he pre-pops his BKB, none of that happens to him, and he's maybe able to get a kill.
Hook from ROTK, bailed out by Fly, who telekinesis and back 4 staff right on top. Cogs go down, and AUI will drop here. Once again, brought down, no buyback for him. Sylar.
That's going to be like 2 sets of racks right there.
Another hook on the fly. ROTK showing off his fancy shiny scepter and all that it lets him do. But yeah, that's a top racks down. Visage picks up a scepter in the meantime. BKB done on Doom, but going to be a bit too little too late. They're going to go ahead and bail out and play this safe.
I'm surprised they didn't keep going. Tiny's down for another 30 seconds. I guess they don't want to run the risk of him buying back, but he would have already bought back to save that first Rex too. I guess they don't want to take a chance with Roshan so close to being able to respawn. Looks like it will be a 2-minute Roshan respawn, so about a minute from now.
FY adding some more magic damage potential to his team, getting the Hood of Defiance, or not Hood of Defiance, but Veil of Discord. And Roche back up in about 30 seconds now. And this could be the game-deciding fight if VG is able to take Roshan. That'll probably just about be that. Fnatic's lone chance is hoping they get a very nice engagement where they trade well. And even if they are able to delay Roshan, at least give them a chance to continue farming up AUI and maybe shore up some of the problems they've had.
Sylar gonna have a double damage rune.
Sylar grabbing the DD on the high ground. Trixie.
Oh, they might pick off Super. Super's alone.
In the meantime, Sylar's looping around, and Demon's right beside him, as is Trixie. And Sylar with that DD. Here we go. The whole team's there. They're going to try to jump in. Sylar immediately Mantis. Here's the relocate. Sylar has to run and hide behind the shop. In the meantime, the fight rages on. ROTK brought down after Demon's roar. Sylar's still up, but not in any shape to fight. AUI finally getting some work done like you knew he wanted to. Poison Nova goes off, but Demon manages to make it away. FY earning himself up in the meantime. Sylar trades one-on-one with AUI and comes out on top. That DD, a huge factor. Trixie slowed down with the Grave Chill. Here comes a fresh bunch of familiars. And Trixie still trying to make a run for it. And still trying to pursue out Sylar, who will be able to TP to safety. And Trixie just can't do much of anything right now. I mean, Fenrir, very survivable, doing a great job with his Visage familiars. Even with the regen from Scorched Earth. Still a tough fight. No, level death from Trixie. Enough to finish it off, but the familiars right on his tail. He's got to hustle. They're right behind him. Scorched Earth wears off. And force staffing himself to safety. And yep, that'll be enough. Looks like they're going to go ahead and bail out. So Trixie wins the one-on-one.
That was a great initiation from Fnatic right there. They killed ROTK with the Doom immediately and the Stun Toss, and then they had the Roar on Super. So immediately it's a 3-on-5 fight. And Spectre was kind of taken out of the fight too because he was forced to pop his Manta. If he didn't pop his Manta though, he would have died immediately. So that was actually a very smart move by him too. So Fnatic with the jump on Vici for once, and they're looking to be pretty good, especially if they can get this Aegis. This Aegis is going to be so important for Fnatic. Like Sylar, if he has Aegis right there, he just mans up, tanks all of them, and they all die due to dispersion damage. So they have to be very, very careful about how they pick the next fight. They are 1 Rax down right now. He's still getting pretty big, very close to his AC. There's a pipe completed out on Demon.
VG eyeing the Roshan pit already. And looking to get into a defensive position in the dire side secret shop. Fly is in the vicinity. But Sylar taking up, has picked up a vid booster, and we're going to have another hook. But 4 staff there, Trixie able to make it away. Does a little bit of damage with level death, but Vici still in a position where they can kind of bully Fnatic around.
Yep, Trixie with that max level death, not doing too much damage to RTK in level 14, but Roshan will be started on right now with a triple bird from Visage, and the medallion coming out too. He's going to drop very, very quickly.
Fnatic's making their way towards the Roche pit, but it looks like they're going to be a day late.
They have vision with the Hawk.
Demon.
They have to relocate in. They have to contest this though.
See how they want to do it. There's the Roar on the Sylar. Relocate coming in. They're going to try to jump him. Roche still up. He will end up dropping, and it's been picked up by Spectre. So Sylar did manage to get it. Trixie still laying into him. ROTK was doomed, but Trixie eating way too much damage. Fly in the meantime tracked down by FY and Sylar. So Fnatic.
Aoi, I think, pre-popped his BKB. If you look at his BKB, it's actually 30 seconds on cooldown right now. And maybe he popped it right before to relocate. I think that's what happened. They meant to relocate as 2, and he wanted to preemptively cast BKB, but instead he wasn't able to tether, and instead it was a 4-on-5 fight. And with that mistake, it looks like the game is very close to being able to be closed out. Spectre going for a heart next, 4,500 gold into inventory. Just a matter of time before they fall.
Demon being absolutely taken apart following the hook from ROTK. Sylar's damage output quite high, hitting for 220 with Radiance Burn on top. And here comes AUI, going to give it a shot. Even FY, though, looking pretty tanky. AUI pursued out. There's a Gale. He's not going anywhere. Has to BKB. But ROTK able to go Scepter to safety. And AUI just eating so much damage after being caught with Medallion. That Nether Ward certainly doing its work as well, as is the Radiance Burn. And Fly can't hang anywhere near there. There's the BKB on Trixie, but once again, is being bursted down. And Sylar still has the Aegis. He'll be happy to die here. Just keep this up. AUI able to cleave them down, but with Sylar coming back up. Oh, they actually managed to get FY as well. Here comes Sylar and relocating out. Super was being life drained as Fly had stolen it. Trixie, though, in some trouble. He'll be brought down thanks to Desolate. And yeah, No Tail comes back out with AUI, but not soon enough to prevent the death of that melee rack. So they fought about as well as you could ask. They got the Aegis, but they lost the racks.
Yep. And Sylar, he needs to spend his money. He has 6,200 gold in his inventory right now. He could easily go for a Butterfly if he wants to. I think Heart is probably the better choice though, especially with BKB being very, very low duration on Tiny right now. It is only 4 seconds, so minimum possible.
Will end up being a Heart of Trask as we see our Snowl move over, grab the Reaver and the recipe. And Demon wants to make something happen somewhere. Knows this game is pretty out of control. They trail in excess of 12,000 gold now, just about 15,000 experience, and not any way for them to turn this around unless they decide to just start taking matters into their own hands. Still would take a minor miracle. Demon's there. He started to roar. Finally does on Sylar, but here comes AUI and No Tail. AUI pops the BKB, didn't mess it up this time. Sylar down to about half health. Super there with the life drain. And AUI, oh, he tried to TP out. Not so lucky, though. And brought down
That was a nice attempt by Fnatic. They have to take long shots if they want to win this game, too. Yep. They're already 2 racks down, so they kind of had to take that sort of risk. If Spectre's out alone, and he just spent his money on Heart, granted he has buyback now, but they don't know that. They're kind of gambling on the fact that, okay, he just spent his money, he probably won't have buyback. If we kill them, maybe we can just take the throne and win the game. It's a long shot. It's their best shot that they have right now, though. And now with Tiny down for another 45 seconds, he does have buyback available to him, but with only 1 set of racks left to defend, it's probably going to be ending in a couple of minutes. And for those of you just tuning in, the score is not 1-1 in this series, as the bars on top may dictate. We still have at least 1 game ahead of us. The score is currently 0-0.
Yep. And buyback from Tiny. Going to try to hold this last racks up. Manages to catch Siler with the avalanche, but Decrep, a little bit of damage done. And there's the hook from ROTK. He's going to be life drained in the meantime. ROTK sacrificed himself. Siler, though, eating a lot of damage coming off of Fly's life drain, which he stole away from Super. There's a buyback out of ROTK as well. And there's the roar on the Super, and he's doomed. Poison Nova goes off. Trixie with his own BKB up, and Demon trying to face tank as much as he can. He ends up dropping, but more importantly, AUI is still alive. Trying to pursue out.
He's going to kill Siler.
Siler ends up dropping. That's a double kill for him. AUI, though, cleaned up from back. And buybacks on both sides. Siler able to buy back, and yep, they're going to call it. As the GG comes out, they did manage to kill off Siler, but with his buyback and the ability to haunt in, they knew no chance to hold that defense. All 5 down, and game 1 in the books.
I think that all of Vici played very, very well. I think that Fnatic got slightly out-drafted too. The Pugna pick was the Pugna versus Beastmaster. Beastmaster did nowhere near the amount of damage that Pugna did. Pugna with their early mech just took down so many different towers. Demon didn't even have a kill at the end of the game, although he tried his best. And they just bought so much time as 4 and just let Spectre farm up incredible amounts. Siler finishing the game with Radiance, Heart, and Manta Style.
10-2 and 22, involved in 32 of Vici Gaming's 37 kills. That's a very active Spectre compared to anything you would expect. Nice performance out of ROTK, even though 4-5 and 20 doesn't necessarily reflect that as a box score. Super, of course, another great game on Pugna, and Venomancer finishing at 4-4 for Fnatic. You can see Demon did struggle, 0-5 for him, 1-10 on Fly, so struggles for him as well. AUI finishing up at 7-8-8. And had a lot of farm, but unfortunately unable to curtail Siler's own farming prowess and secure this game 1 win. So just like that, Vici Gaming off of their loss to LGD in our first series of the day, the upper bracket finals. They're now 1 game away from a rematch in the grand finals. Fnatic gonna have to repeat what they did last night. They're up against the wall, win or go home. They have to win 2 in a row. Game 2 of this best of 3, our lower bracket finals coming up next here on the HyperX D2L. Stick with us.